Hey YouTube, Silence here with Airsoft Team OSMD, and today I'm going to show you how to cut and ream or crown a barrel. So this is just a scrap aluminum. This is a scrap brass barrel, kind of like your stock barrel. And first question you should ask yourself is, why am I cutting my barrel? Well, sometimes you can have scratched your barrel right by the edge. Usually your common airsofter won't be able to determine that, but I've noticed that before. I've had a brass barrel that I've scratched close to the end. I needed to cut it off, but more than likely the main reason you're going to be cutting your barrel is to fit your outer barrel. You might have an inner barrel that's too long, and you might have upgraded your outer barrel or got a shorter one or something along those lines. And then after doing that, you'd like to get a shorter inner barrel, but you don't want to buy it. You already have an inner barrel. So the question is, how do you cut it without ruining your accuracy? Well, the answer is you have to crown it correctly. So in order to do this, usually I will use a couple tools. So this is a 30-degree taper reamer. So it's a reamer for like reaming holes in wood. You can get it at like Ace Hardware has them. It's tapered, and it kind of is like a drill, but it's a reamer. You can look up what a reamer is, and you turn it clockwise, and it cuts, and it slowly cuts a bigger and bigger hole as it goes. Sorry, I'm out of frame there. It slowly cuts a bigger and bigger hole as you go. Obviously, you'll need your barrel, and you won't want your bucking on it or your hop-up chamber. You want just your barrel. This is a double cut file. You can use any file you like, but I like this is a file made by Cobalt. It's called a flat bastard file or a double cut file. I like them because, like the name implies, it cuts really quickly, so you don't have to waste as much time filing, and it does a really good job. Most files you get, you're going to need to buy a handle for them. Don't ever use a file without a handle, because you could really hurt yourself if you're pushing real hard and your hand goes up over the tang, and it'll take some skin off. So make sure you get a handle for your file. Obviously you want a flat file. You don't want one that's curved. The final tool you'll want is a hacksaw. This is a standard. Sorry, I need to zoom this out a little bit. This is a little bit crazy. This is your standard hacksaw with a bimetal blade. I like hacksaws, especially the full-size hacksaws, because they cut really quick and you can cut really straight with them, and there's just no reason not to love them. You can get mini hacksaws, but I prefer to have like the pistol grip type hacksaw because I don't lose control of it when I'm using it. So I've already cut this barrel, but the first thing you want to do is you want to put it in a vise. Mark where you want to cut it. Usually I'll leave about a 1/4 inch extra, because you're going to be filing it straight. No matter how hard you try, you're never going to be able to cut it perfectly straight. So after you cut it, one of the sides is going to be... Actually, I did cut this barrel recently. You'll be able to see this, perhaps. After you cut it, there's going to be like burrs, and the cut's not going to be straight. It's going to be angled. So in order to get rid of that, let me zoom out here. What you want to do is you want to take your file, and you want to file the barrel, but you want to rotate the barrel as you're filing it straight. Hold the file as perpendicular to the barrel as you can, as straight as you can, and keep rotating the barrel as you file. And it will do what I call squaring up the end. If there's any angle to your barrel, it will fix that because you're rotating it, and you're making sure that you're holding it as perpendicular to the barrel as you can. And it only takes, with a double cut file like this, it only takes a real short amount of time, and before you know it, sorry I'm out of frame, before you know it, you have a perfectly squared barrel that it's not angled at all. So the final thing I'll do is I will get some sandpaper. That's the other thing I forgot. This is 320 sandpaper. All you need to do is just rotate it again, kind of like what you did with the file, to try and get any burrs off the end. We're going to go and make it a little bit smoother later on. Usually I'll start with like a 320 and I'll end with like an 800, but we're not to the finishing phase yet. So yes, we've made the barrel on the end look really nice and square, but we haven't actually done anything to crown it. And this is the part that most people don't get right. Most people will use a Dremel and like a chainsaw sharpening bit. The problem is you don't get a really nice deep crown with that. So how do we get a nice deep crown? Well, you're going to need a drill and your barrel. Zoom out here. So get your drill. This happens to be a corded drill from Rigid. Put your barrel in your drill and tighten it down pretty good. Now, more than likely your barrel isn't totally straight, so when you see it wobbling, it's going to wobble. That's how you can tell if your barrel's straight or not. But what you need is you need your 30-degree taper reamer, and you're going to insert it into the barrel. And you're going to set the drill to go in. So the barrel should be rotating clockwise against the reamer, and that will cut. Other way you can do it is when you insert the reamer, you should turn the reamer clockwise, and that will start cutting. You gotta be careful because this is going to get really hot. So you need to use a lubricant of some sort. What I usually do is I'll get a rag and put it down, and I'll just use WD-40. Take a little bit of WD-40 and put it on your reamer. WD-40 is going to tell you how hot you're getting as you work here. Be careful not to touch the barrel because you could burn yourself. So we're going to get started here. Insert it in and start rotating it. As soon as you see smoke, which right now I just saw a little bit of smoke, pull the reamer out and let it cool down. Don't touch the barrel because it will get very hot. You want to push the reamer into the barrel, kind of like you're drilling, and slowly rotate the barrel. And you can see chips right here. It's cutting. Now you don't want to do this with a steel barrel. This only works with a brass or aluminum barrel because this steel reamer is not going to cut stainless steel. If you're trying to crown a steel barrel, my recommendation is just to deburr it and leave it alone, or don't cut it at all. But if you have a brass barrel or an aluminum barrel, you can ream it, and it doesn't take very long. You can do an excellent job. You can actually improve your accuracy by doing it. So I'll put a little bit of lubricant on the barrel itself, and I'll also put a little bit more on the cutting surfaces of the reamer. And we'll do it again. Put it in, apply force. As soon as you see smoke, it's getting hot, take it off. And we are starting a beautiful crown. Actually, we're done. You can go as deep as you want with this crown, but usually I'll only go about 1/4 of an inch because beyond that, it's a little bit overkill. So I'll show you how well we did with this. And these reamers, this is made by a company called General. It's the number 130. That's the serial number or whatever. It's called a number 130 taper reamer by General. Very, very good tool. And they're cheap. They're not super expensive. So what I'll do once I'm finished is I'll put my lubricant away because I don't need it anymore. Silicone also works as a lubricant. I prefer silicone because it actually smokes a little bit more visible, so you can tell that that's a better indicator that you're getting too hot. So we went from a fresh cut barrel, all we did was sand it a little bit and file it, and I'm going to get a Q-tip just to clear the filings out a little bit here so you can see. And then I'm going to take, this is some 400, I think I have some 800 around here somewhere. 800 would be a little bit nicer, but I'll take a little bit of 400 sandpaper, and I'm going to sand the end like we did before, just to make sure there's no burrs sticking up. Rotating the barrel as I'm sanding. Then I'm going to take my cotton swab, insert it in, and I'll show you guys. Now normally what I would do is I would take like a screwdriver and I would put a little bit of 1500 sandpaper on it. I'd wrap it around and I'd stick it in the barrel with sandpaper on it and put this back in the drill. Let the drill spin this and insert this at an angle so it sands and polishes the crown. So let me see if I have any to do it live here before I send you all on your way. I have 800. 800 won't do a bad job. One thing I do have is what this is called white diamond. It's a diamond metal polish. It polishes brass, chrome, stainless steel. That's another thing you can do. You can just polish it. But here I happen to have 1500 sandpaper. So you can do either or. Usually if I want to do a really, really pretty job, which is what I'll do here, I'm going to polish it for you with 1500 and then I'm going to hit it with the white diamond, and it's going to turn this barrel crown unbelievably shiny. Put the barrel back in. You're going to have to clean the barrel after you're done with this. Normal procedure with cotton ball and denatured alcohol or silicone. But you're going to want to clean your barrel after you do this because you have cut the barrel. There is maybe a little bit of brass inside of it that you don't want inside. So, but before, that's what we do when we're totally done. We're not totally done yet. So I got the 1500 sandpaper and I wrapped it around nice and tight around there. And then I have my drill and there's the crown. What I'm going to do is I'm going to insert it in to the bore and I'm going to slightly angle it. So I'm not going to put it in totally straight, I'm going to angle it a slight bit, and then I'm going to rotate the drill to allow it to polish the inner barrel. No, you can't see this the easiest, but what that did is made it super, super shiny. And the final thing we can do, the final thing I'm going to do, is I'm going to show you the difference of what this white diamond does. So all you need for that is, you can use Brasso too, but this stuff works way better than Brasso. Take a little bit, first you're going to shake it up, because there's actually diamonds in this. This is one of the few polishes that will actually polish stainless steel quickly. So take a little bit, and I'm going to show you what it does to the outside. So you just put a little bit on the barrel. Now you can do it to a cotton swab. Typically I would add a little bit to the cotton swab. I'm going to do that too, but once you put a little bit on, you can actually just spin it in the drill. you want to let it dry, which that's only going to take probably, you can actually see that your rag got totally black. That's actually brass that came off that quick. Doesn't take long at all. I'll take another rag and actually buff it off. So now this is a dry rag. And I'm going to show you the difference of what it looks like. You can actually make any turdy looking barrel look fantastic. So here's the polished side. It's actually gorgeous. And here's the crown, if you guys can see in there. You can't really see in there super well. There you can. The crown goes in about 1/4 inch. Now, I haven't totally polished it yet. So, I'm going to take a little bit of the white diamond and I'm going to put it on my cotton swab. That's all you need. It's just a little cotton swab. Put a little bit on there. I'm spilling it everywhere because I'm retarded. But you have a little bit on there. Just stick it in the barrel. I'm going to zoom out so you can kind of see what I'm doing. Stick it in. Polish that 1/4 inch. Flip it over. You can do the front of the barrel too if you like. Now we just need a cotton swab that doesn't have any compound on it, like this one. Sometimes I'll just use a rag for the outside to buff that off, and then I'll use this to buff the inside off. And the other side. I'll use the other side, which is also clean. And that should be pretty dang clean. So, spilled a little bit of diamond compound. Not a big deal. But, I'm going to zoom in so you can kind of see, if you can see. Again, it's really hard to get a look on the inside of a crown. It's just the nature of this stuff, camera work. But I can probably get you to zoom in on that. So essentially, I cut the barrel and I polished the outside and the inside. And it looks fantastic, and it's going to shoot fantastically awesome. Now, if I lap this barrel, this will be a very, very nice barrel. It'll be almost as good as a Orga Magnus barrel, which is like a $100 brass barrel, and I did it all myself. So, I know this is kind of a long video, but hopefully you enjoyed it, learned something. I definitely enjoyed making it because now I got a brand new, well, new to me, but super polished barrel, excellent crown, and it's exactly the length that I want it. So hopefully you enjoyed this video. I've been uploading about twice a week. If you liked the video, please leave a comment about what you liked about it, and please subscribe. And this has been Silence from Airsoft Team OSMD, and I'll see you guys in the next video.